Hey y'all, it's me. It's your girl, the real deal, and you already know what time it is. Yes, like, share, and subscribe. That's the real deal. I'm getting my body back together, motion back together, and I'm ready to go back to work. Okay, so today we are going to discuss Bryan Kohberger. Allegedly, Bryan Kohberger said he was out during the night riding around. But I hope that what he's saying is, was he over there in that area? So the title is, Will Kohberger take the stand after making a comment like what he's going to make? He said he was out taking a ride during the night when this happened to them. Yeah, he was out. So what we're going to do is we're going to react as we go. We're going to talk as we go. This is not the kind of video that you're supposed to just sit and listen. So we will be reacting. Let me put my description up, my fair use information. Okay, and here we go. And leave your comments, okay?
I think Kohberger has to testify to get the information exactly the way they want it in this motion.
28-year-old Kohberger is charged in the quadruple murder that shocked the nation when 4 University of Idaho students were found stabbed to death in their off-campus home on November 13th of last year. Investigators used DNA recovered from a knife sheath left at the crime scene to connect Kohberger to the case. In late December, he was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania.
Detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee.
Surviving roommates of the victims later admitted to seeing a suspect in their home the night of the murders, describing the figure as, quote, 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. Prosecutors allege Kohberger matches that description. After his extradition to Latah County, Idaho, he was charged with all 4 murders.
Count 2 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died.
This week, Kohberger's defense team unveiled his alibi, but it may have left more questions than answers.
The strange thing about this case, though, is Kohberger can't say specifically when and where he was at the time of the murders. He can only say that I was on one of these routine drives in a car. So it's kind of sort of an alibi, but kind of sort of not an alibi.
Law and Crime Network host and public defender Bryan Buckmeyer says it's common for prosecutors to request alibi information from the defense ahead of trial.
So in a lot of states, Idaho included, the defense is obligated to give what's called an alibi notice. It's if there is an alibi where a defendant can say, I was at this place and at this time when a crime occurred at this place and this time, and therefore it could not have been me. Either it's through the defendant's own words, oftentimes corroborated with this witness, or this video can explain why I was not there.
On July 27th, Latah County prosecutors filed a motion to compel Kohberger's defense to provide the state with a notice of alibi. According to court documents, prosecutors were looking for a, quote, specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the burglary and homicides in the case, and the names and addresses of all witnesses upon whom the defendant intends to rely to establish such alibi. On August 2nd, Kohberger's defense filed an objection to the state's motion, shedding some light on what they say is his alibi. But according to Buckmeyer, some pieces are missing.
I would say it's like a 3-legged chair. Like, it's still a chair, but it's definitely missing like a very important piece to the point that it might wobble and fall apart. But you err on the side of I'm the defense. I'm going to file this motion, because in some states they're very strict. And I think the defense hinted at this in their motion, that they do not want this information to be excluded because they did not present it within the statutory time that you're supposed to provide an alibi. So it's, again, it's kind of sort of is an alibi, but it doesn't have the specificity or that fourth leg of this is exactly where I was at this exact time and why I could not have committed this crime.
According to court documents, Kohberger, quote, has long had a habit of going for drives alone. The defense alleges that's what Kohberger was doing the night of the murders, but can't give much more information. The motion reads in part, quote, Mr. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. At this time, there is not a specific witness to say precisely where Mr. Kohberger was at each moment of the hours between late night November 12th, 2022 and early morning November 13th, 2022.
And in my mind, knowing the rules of evidence, at best, you can get someone up on the stand to say, yes, we looked at the cell phone history and there seems to be a habit of these late night drives to X and Y location. Some are to the university where the 4 victims are, some are to other locations. But to specifically say, you know why this person is doing this, that would be a speculation, and that's an objection.
Buckmeyer explains having someone else testify about Kohberger's whereabouts could get tricky when it comes time for trial.
Even if, let's say hypothetically, my wife sees me every day drive and leave the house at 9 a.m. and come back at 5 p.m. and I tell her I'm at work,
Right.
she would have to testify based on the words that I say, and that would be hearsay.
Though Kohberger's defense says there's no one who could corroborate his alibi right now, court documents show Kohberger, quote, indicated he anticipates corroborating witnesses. The motion continues saying, quote, corroboration of Bryan Kohberger not being at 1122 King may be brought out through cross-examination of the state's witnesses.
I think that Bryan Kohberger got set up. I believe that he into law and he knows mentally what he's doing, and he know how to set something up, a case up, because this is what he teach. This is what he taught them, how to process them and what to do. Bryan is more like the secondary alleged suspect here. He seemed like to me he calls the order. He calls the shot, allegedly.
At this time, Mr. Kohberger cannot be more specific about the possible witnesses and exactly what they will say. But Buckmeyer says Kohberger's testimony may be the best way to corroborate the claim.
How would someone even seeing Kohberger drive off know what and why he's doing these solo rides? In my mind, I think Kohberger has to testify to get the information exactly the way they want it in this motion.
That being said, Buckmeyer says Kohberger's testimony isn't guaranteed.
And I think they're going to try speculation. It'll again go back to experts saying his cell phone travels to and from locations at times that could not have been connected to this crime. Then the prosecution gets to come up and say, all right, Maybe he's scouting other places. Maybe he's scouting where to dump bodies. Maybe he's scouting where to dump evidence. Maybe he's scouting to do whatever they can speculate at. And I think that pulls away from the defense's argument to say, hey, he's just a graduate student who needs some time to blow off steam and drive around. Because the only one who can for sure say that, if these are solo rides, in my mind, would be Kohberger.
The defense's use of this alibi isn't guaranteed either.
Just because you give notice that there is an alibi, it doesn't mean that this is 100% what you're going to say at trial. The defense has every right, because again, it's the prosecution's burden to put on the case. They have no burden to put on any evidence. They can come up to trial and simply say, no,
everything, listen, y'all, everything that this young man sitting here saying, Bryan knows this. Bryan, this is a game played for Bryan. This was already planned out, y'all, because they know they were going to have to do it quicker and sooner, because Kayla was about to graduate, so it got to happen immediately. And so Bryan used mind games. They used Bryan to help him get rid. It's allegedly. I just leave it like that.
Of this alibi, but the prosecution couldn't even prove their case. So there's no reason for us to put on a case. We have no burden, but you definitely want to give notice so you're not excluded from using it in the future.
A lengthy preliminary hearing in Kohberger.
All right, what we gonna do right here, I just want to share with y'all that y'all gotta remember, this man thinking logic. He's thinking, he knows the order and the procedure. They're gonna have to get out the box. Some big lawyers got to come out and attack him some kind of way mentally, because Bryan think he's smarter than him. Y'all like, share, and subscribe.